I went to design school. I'm an industrial designer, and at design school we had to design all kinds of products. Being on the streets in Colombia, working on my consumer insights as a designer, I bumped into those street kids and I noticed that they had like a bunch of problems as well. But I noticed as well that they were tremendously skilled in surviving the streets. If you or I would be forced to go and survive like 2 weeks on the streets of a big metropolitan town, we wouldn't have a clue on how doing it. And I saw the opportunity to start, a social enterprise, actually awakening those talents in the street kids. So I designed a mobile school. It's a little trailer on wheels. It's 1.5 meters of length. You can pull it into the streets until you meet the street kids. And once you meet them, you can slide it open. So it's actually box sliding out of boxes. It becomes 6 meters of length, and it creates a blackboard of 6 meters of length. You can open it in 30 seconds, close it in 30 seconds. And against the blackboard, you can connect educational games. Problem is that right now we pull these kids out of the streets before empowering them, pull them into systems where they're not used to, way too much structure for them. They go in conflict with those systems and actually they drop out. What we do with Mobile School is non-formal education and is focused on building self-esteem, building identity and empowerment on the streets, because we believe that once you get the kids to that level of being empowered, they can start making decisions. And at Mobile School, we have kids that decide to go to a school or to a rehab or to a vocational training program, but we have as well teenagers that decide to leave the life of being a crack junk on the streets, and they start building their own informal businesses in the slums, making money in an honest way. Every medal has two sides. And clearly in streets and in the world of street kids, there is a harsh side of problems and misery and stuff. What I strongly believe is that if you want to find a solution for a problem, you need to understand the problems, but then you need to flip the paradigm and you need to start focusing on the strengths. So actually solving the problems on this side, we do it by actually developing the opportunity on the other side. And we strongly believe as well, if we preach this to kids in poverty on the streets, we need to apply it to ourselves. We shouldn't be asking for fish, we should catch fish ourselves as well. We actually started partnering with the kids on the streets. And what we did was we started profiling the winners on the streets, asking ourselves, why are they the winners? We found a mindset, we found a skill set in the winners that we called actually the skills, the street skills, the skills that make you street savvy or street smart or streetwise. And that's the name of our company. A learning and development company that nowadays is selling to a bunch of international corporations, multinationals. We sell training to Coca-Cola, to IKEA, to Nike, to KBC, Rabobank, BNP Paribas, Fortis. We invoice to those guys, they pay the bill, and 100% all profits that we make by doing this, we reinvest them back into mobile school programs for street youth. If I would go for the old model, probably I would do fundraising events where marketeers will tell me, show the misery, show the poverty, because that's the product, because then you can fundraise. But this is inconsistent. If I believe in those kids, in my work on the streets, I should believe in them as well, developing an economical model. And this is what I do. I sell their strengths. I'm not selling their poverty. We need to consistently believe in them. And that's what we try to do in the full model of what we do, in the approaches with Mobile School, in the trainings with Streetwise, in the full economical model of the social enterprise. There shouldn't be a difference between a social enterprise and a profit. That's the future, I hope, Right now we have these silos of the social organizations, and we've got the for-profit organizations. But it's not efficient, because the for-profit organizations, they create economical wealth, but often they compromise on social and environmental issues. And then we've got the NGOs, they create social impact or environmental progress. but they don't take economical responsibility because all the money they use is philanthropy or grants. So they don't add to the GDP of a country and are not creating wealth. And a social enterprise actually, in my opinion, can become an organization or should become an organization that takes financial responsibility, economical responsibility, social responsibility, environmental responsibility. At the beginning of mobile school, at the early days, I bumped into a philanthropist that provided me of a bag of 1,300,000 euros kind of seed capital for the organization. If that family wouldn't have decided to take that risk and give that money to me, I never would have been able to take off. And I'm sure that at that moment I wouldn't be ready to speak with impact investors and stuff. So I think the public institutions, governments, EU, might consider thinking about creating a kind of a social investment fund where they really take risks, giving young social entrepreneurs with good ideas the opportunity to prove themselves. That's trying to be consistent in every layer of what we do as an organization, which becomes more complex when the organization grows. When you scale up, there is a risk that you're not using the same vision and the same values in the way that you build your financial model compared with what you do in the action, in our case, on the streets and stuff. So it's really being really consistent in vision, values, and ethics. It's really being consistent. Be what you preach. Walk the talk.